Hey, what's the deal? Miss your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag, you know what I mean? As of this recording, it's 6:41 p.m. February 12th, 2026, you know what I mean? But this video is going up at 11:30. You know what I mean? This is the last video, the third and the final video of the day. Damn, I gotta clean this fucking floor. Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? And I want to do a discussion video, you know, for tonight because, you know, with pro wrestling, you know, pro wrestling is one of those sports where age doesn't fucking matter, right? It's all about getting over, right? And if you're able to get over, you still got name value and such, right? And there are a lot of people in professional wrestling that has name value, right? In older ages. And to be frank, a lot of people in pro wrestling, like they actually peak, you know, in their 40s and 50s. You know what I'm saying? And I laugh when I hear people say, well, you know, he's over the hill. She's over the hill. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Because, you know, it seems like once you get into your 40s, then people start to talk, right? It seems like that number, you know what I'm saying, people start to pop shit, right? Oh, you know, he's 40, you know, he's 40. You know, he's 40. That means he's done. He's done. You know what I mean? He's done. And I laugh at that shit. You know what I mean? I laugh because I'm like, I know y'all motherfuckers ain't serious. You know, one of my favorite shows on TV right now is Abbott Elementary. You know what I mean? Like the actress who played Ava is fucking gorgeous. You know what I mean? Like she a comedian. You know what I mean? Like I think her name is something Jones. I don't remember. I think Janelle Jones. That's her name. You know what I mean? And you know, I'll be honest. Like I didn't know anything. I mean, I heard about her, but you know, like she really, really, really blew up in that show, right? Where people know who she is. And I think she's what? I think she's 46, 47. You know what I mean? So she's, you know, she's in her pure peak mode. Like her career really, really, really got started there. You know what I mean? And I'm using her as an example because with pro wrestlers, you know, there are some people who they peak late in their career, right? So the fact that people say, oh, well, you know, this person's over the hill, that person's over the hill, that's complete bullshit. A lot of times when people say that, it's more of an insecure thing and shit that they hear from other people, right? You know, but then when you get to that age, right, it's like, okay, you know, I think I still have one more in me or two more in me, or maybe I can keep this going, right? And it's laughable. You know what I mean? It's fucking laughable. Even with sports, you notice like with sports, anytime like someone gets into their 40s, like you hear that word retirement, right? This could be this person's last game. This could be, you know, the last game of their career, blah, blah, blah. And these motherfuckers still be in shape, right? LeBron James he will be 42 this year, I believe. He's going to be 42, right? And this motherfucker's still putting up numbers. I mean, yeah, he wasn't voted in the All-Star game this year, right? Yeah, he was, but in the bench. But, you know, he's still giving you, you know, this motherfucker's still averaging, you know, like some 20 points a game, right? And he's still in terrific fucking shape. But I think when they see that number 4, you know, as they age with, you know, any number that begins with 4 and then another number after, then they start to get scared like, oh my God, oh man, you know, he's, you know, he needs to call it quits, he needs to retire, blah, blah, blah. In pro wrestling, it's pro wrestling, you know, it's more accepted. The only people who have a problem with that are, you know, people like dirt sheet guys. You know what I mean? Like dirt sheet people. You know what I'm saying? Because look at Chris Jericho, all right? When Chris Jericho was in AEW, when he first started in AEW, right? Nobody wasn't bringing up his age at all. They're like, oh man, we got Chris Jericho. We got the Painmaker. You know what I'm saying? Like we got, and he's a founding father of All Elite Wrestling, right? So the fact that, you motherfuckers say, oh, well, now since he's, now that he's not wrestling and there's a good chance that he goes back to WWE, they're like, oh man, he's over the hill and, fuck that he's washed up and blah, blah, blah. I want to see him retire, right? Fuck you. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what he wants to do. And bam. And you want to know the funny thing, right? It's motherfuckers who's in their 20s who say this, right? But yet when they get to that age, right? When they get to that fucking age, then the same way how Chris Jericho act or his mindset, they're going to have that same mindset too, right? You know who you also see that bullshit with a lot as well? Rappers. You see a lot of that with rappers. Oh, he's old, he's washed up. He's in his 40s. Like, why the fuck do I want to hear, a rap in his 40s and such? Jay-Z. You know what I mean? That's all I got to say. That just ends the conversation right there. You know what I mean? Sean Carter, like, he's like, if he wants to, he could drop like maybe 5 to 6 more albums and this shit still be hot. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying with pro wrestlers, being over the hill and shit like that. I don't believe in that. If you still have name value, if you still have some fucking name value, right? More than likely, you are going to, expand your name value onto the biggest stage of them all. Hands down. If you don't think that company will be interested in signing you to take advantage of that name value, you are sadly fucking mistaken. You are sadly mistaken. Like I said, we've seen a lot of this. You know what I mean? We've seen a whole lot of this shit. Remember Sting? Sting debuted at WWE at age 55, right? And he was in great fucking shape. He was in terrific fucking shape. You know what I'm saying? In scary good shape. You know what I mean? Because, he still has name value. He still has all that. You know what I'm saying? He still has all that. So he can, he knows how to, market himself, with Steve Borden knew how to still market the Sting character. He knew it. He's a smart guy. No, he's a smart guy. He said, fuck it. Let me, fuck I got to lose. Let me put WWE in my resume. And that's what he did. That's what the fuck he did. And people are complaining about, oh, well, WWE is signing, people in their 40s and such. AEW does the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, come on. The Hurt Syndicate. They're in their 50s. Right? The Hurt Syndicate's in their fucking 50s. Adam Copeland is in his 50s. Christian Cage in his 50s. Samoa Joe is definitely in his mid-40s. Mid-40s, early 50s, right? And they want to bring in somebody else who is also in their mid-40s, early 50s, AJ Styles, right? Even Orange Cassidy is fucking 40. I think he's 41. You know what I mean? So don't sit here and bullshit and say, oh, someone's over the, they're over the hill and stuff, when they clearly can do a lot. You can clearly do some stuff with them. You clearly could. Shit, Goldberg. How old was Goldberg when he retired? Right? So you got to think, oh, he's over the hill. He's over the hill. But yet, if you had him or her in your company, then you wouldn't say that shit. Like, oh man, we got blah, 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 blah. Like, come on, bro. Seriously, like, people peak better in their 40s than, people peak in their 30s. I'm not saying it's not the case for all, but people peak a lot better in their 40s, way more than, people in their 20s and 30s. Plain and simple. And people in their 40s are definitely a little bit more mature. Except rappers. I mean, look what happened with Tony Yayo and Uncle Murder and Ja Rule recently. You know what I mean? These dudes are, Ja Rule's about to be 50. You know what I mean? Ja Rule's about to be 50. Uncle Murder and Tony Yayo are both in their mid-40s. Now I mean, you got these motherfuckers still acting like, they're back in the fucking in the fucking hood. You know what I mean? With the whole Josh in the airport. Like, come on, man. But this is not about rap. This is about wrestling. I just find it funny that, when you get into your 40s and such, the over-the-hill mentality start. Oh, well, you should do this. You shouldn't do this anymore. You shouldn't do that. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know what I mean? I'll be honest, too. I keep it a stack with y'all. Right? There are some females in my job who is fucking gorgeous for their age. What? Especially this one female. Her ass is like, it is fat. It is fat. I'm like, God damn. And she's in her, I think she's in her early 40s. In her early to mid 40s. Know what I mean? Girl is gorgeous than a motherfucker. But again, with wrestling, even with fucking football. You know what I mean? Even with fucking football. Like, look at Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be committed to playing another season in Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? So, and look how old he is. How old was Tom Brady when he won his last Super Bowl? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. Now, I mean, remember Brett Favre? I mean, come on, G. You know what I mean? Like, if you still got it, if you're still valuable enough to put it, to put these numbers out and can still play everything, God bless you. You know what I'm saying? Because it shouldn't be like, well, you get to your late 30s, early 40s. Well, let's talk about retirement. No, not in pro wrestling. Not in fucking pro wrestling. Like, there's no such thing as actual retirement in pro wrestling. There's no such thing. Because people who quote unquote retire, right? They wind up coming back, for big money matches. Especially if the money is too big to turn down. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. It's professional wrestling, yo. It's pro wrestling. Shit. Nigga, I wouldn't even mind, like, shit. Like, let's say if, I'm trying to think of a pro wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, you got pro wrestlers out there who's, like, in their 50s and, some of them are wrestling. And there's some people I don't mind seeing. I don't mind seeing some people. But then again, because of gimmicks and such, it might not fit with the times. But who knows? And that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the Wrestlers Ahead of Their Time series, right? I'm going to retire that. And I'm going to do a brand new series called, Wrestlers Who Can Fit in today's day and age. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to take wrestlers and, from my past, like from the 80s, 90s, the 2000s, mostly from the 90s and 2000s, and see where they can fit in today's wrestling landscape. You know what I mean? But anyway, guys, I'm about to be out. You know what I'm saying? I got work in the morning. Now, a motherfucker got to get up. You know what I mean? I got work, unlike you IWC loser marks or the AEW sickos. You know what I mean? But anyway, guys, I'm about to be out. I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.